So Project Stargate, even in my own experience, like I haven't seen that it's been fully turned off. I've seen that names change, but names change all the time, right? Like Trump started the war against the trade war against China. Biden carried on the trade war against China, right? Even though he said he shut down Trump era policy, he just changed the name. It went from being like Trump's anti-China something to Biden's regime migration something, right? Like the politics changed, but the policy stayed the same.
Sure.
So like you've got to assume and account for the same thing happening.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I look at it. And I've talked to some people that do remote viewing and they're like, no, it's real. And I'm like, what? And like, these are people that like I generally like trust. They don't seem crazy or delusional. And they're like, yeah, I did it. I'm like, okay.
I did this investigative series with the History Channel. It's a show called Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. And we worked with remote viewers. And I will tell you full on, like straight up, the results that the remote viewers came up with were shocking. Just totally shocking. Somehow they were able to remote view things that had been verified and vetted through history. They were able to identify characters, shapes, faces, objects that we had only heard about through eyewitnesses who were reticent to even talk to us. So I have personally seen how remote viewing can yield results that are consistent with what we're hearing from eyewitnesses who did not talk to other people and especially did not talk to the remote viewers. And the remote viewers were like all over the world. We worked with one of the largest remote viewing teams in history to ever actually be assembled to try to carry out this investigative effort for Beyond Skinwalker Ranch. So I can tell you for sure that the outcomes of what they produce are shocking, like shockingly on target. What I can't speak to is how they get to those results. Is there some sort of corruption in the system? Is there some kind of flaw? Is there actual science behind it? Is it really working? I don't know how they got there, but it's fucking crazy when you see it and you're like, wait a second, that lady has never told anybody about this little 3-foot shadow creature, and she described it exactly the same way as these 5 remote viewers describe it and draw it on this piece of paper. Like, and where did these guys come from? Sweden, Germany, Switzerland, and Norway? They're like, she's where? In southern Colorado? Like, how does this even happen?
Yeah, it is a strange thing. I mean, we were talking a little bit before we recorded about like consciousness and how exactly where exactly it exists and whether or not we can use consciousness to affect reality.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just think about the remote viewing stuff and I think like it's bizarre to me that that people independently can describe similar things. I mean, similar with like psychedelics. I've heard people have done, like I've spoken to people, again, this is anecdotal and completely unscientific, but spoken to people that have done psychedelics together that have been able to, telepathically communicate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, we both were tripping on LSD and I looked at my buddy and we were talking and then my other friend was there that wasn't tripping, that was watching us, and neither of us were moving our mouths, but we knew what we were saying. And I'm like, you were just on drugs. And they're like, I don't know. But I hear these things and I'm like, what the fuck is going on there?